Hi, James Jones, Director of the Mid-Pacific ICT Center in San Francisco. It's 2013 at our winter conference with Dave Nelson of VMware and Rich Weeks of NDG. Hi, guys.
Howdy.
Hey, James.
So we've talked before,
Yes, we
and
have.
as usual, the winds of change are blowing through your hair, and there's all sorts of things that have happened since we last talked. But let's try to provide a little context first. VMware. Tell us about VMware.
Well, we've had some really interesting progress, and we've laid a foundation with the initial course that NDG has virtualized the labs for. And that course provides the infrastructure layer for vSphere, and the course we teach there is the install, configure, and manage. Where we are now is we've taken that next step, and we have the virtual desktop infrastructure course that is also then made available through the virtual labs that NDG supplies. And the importance of that is really monumental, because this is where education and industry really get some advantages. To give you an idea, I've talked to many schools around the world, and they have said that the VMware View desktop infrastructure course or that technology has enabled them to reduce the number of physical classrooms substantially, because with the flip of a switch, a classroom which was purpose-built for one course topic now can be used for another. And so you don't have to load software and all of this sort of thing, because everything is basically being used in a virtual sense. And an interesting thing happened. In a couple of cases I heard that they had older equipment, and they weren't ready to bring in new equipment. All they really need is a thin client for this application. But what they did was they were using this older equipment and extending the life of it, because what they were able to do is use the keyboard and the screen, and then everything is virtual. So they were able to get some additional mileage. So this is really making a huge change in education and in industry. So hats off to NDG and the virtual solutions they've come up with for labs. And we've done some really interesting things with EMC and cloud computing, and I'd like to have Rich talk a little bit about that.
So before we go there, let me just make sure I got my head around it here. So VMware is a leader in the virtualization space, and virtualization is about applying software to overcome resource constraints around hardware.
Yes.
Basically. So it costs a lot of money to run dedicated servers. Most of those servers aren't fully utilized. You can run virtualization software, get more utilization out of those servers. You save money in capital expense buying them. You save money in operating expense operating them. It's just something that's smart, makes a lot of business sense. It's going gangbusters in the marketplace. And for a while now, you've been teaching people how to do that server-side stuff. And you've been working with Rich and providing access to solutions remotely, so that students can get into these machines without having to have, the devices in every classroom or in every lab space. But VMware is marching on, and that virtualization concept is being applied to desktop systems.
Yes.
So you no longer have to have, the whole software suite system operating on dedicated resources on every single machine. You can also serve those up through the cloud.
Correct.
So that there's efficiencies to operating lots of desktops in an enterprise.
Yes.
And that same business rationale applies. It makes good business sense to do this, because you don't have to, buy as much gear, you don't have to buy as much software, you don't have to spend as much time and energy and money operating it. And you've got this guy involved in that too.
Absolutely. And one other thing, and that is that the virtualization technology is the underpinnings of cloud computing. And with our collaboration with Cisco and EMC and others, we're basically really taking things to a new level.
Awesome. So now let's cover your perspective on it for a minute. So NDG and NetLab, you want to just cover for a minute what that is and then how you're collaborating with Dave?
Yeah, thanks, James. I'm glad to. So what NetLab is a software suite, if you will, all the software applications you would need to host a training lab on the internet. So we've been working with VMware now for about 3 years to enable virtualized farms, if you will. And the first course that we enabled was a course Dave mentioned, which maps to the VMware Certified Professional, which is focused on the vSphere suite. So it's vSphere, Install, Configure, Manage. And Dave, Rick, and I, Rick Watson at VMware, and the staff on our team, we started looking at the VDI deployment, View, Install, Configure, Manage, about 6 months to a year ago. And we're working on a pilot offering that we hope to roll out here next 30 to 60 days where schools could start teaching the View VDI implementation. But the real neat thing about it is we're no longer capped with what you can use that virtualization to teach. You know, schools can add their own courses that they want to come up with beyond that using our NetLab Plus product. So you could take 1 or 2 servers, run VMware on those servers, put NetLab Plus in front of it, and it becomes a scheduling engine that marries your content to VMs at a scheduled time, so you can serve hundreds or even thousands of students asynchronously from the same virtualized environment.
This is a really, really powerful concept. So, you know, we need to teach students how to work with these technologies because they're badly needed in the workplace. We need people who can apply these technologies, make them work for business so that our economy grows and we prosper. But it's expensive to try to teach people this stuff in the classroom because this gear is expensive. And you can't put this gear in every classroom in America because who's going to pay for that? So you can apply the virtualization technologies and allow people to access it through the internet, essentially.
That's
from
right.
Anywhere, at any time. You got a browser, you got a machine. You get the benefit of a hands-on lab experience without having to support the lab locally.
Yeah, and what's really neat is any student can be assigned their own virtual machines. And you can stand that up at this college that we're at today, or you could stand it up at another college and they could collaborate with each other, or they could support each other's students. One could be the host site and the other could share. I mean, there's so many things that we can empower now. In fact, what's really neat is EMC and VMware are even working together to have a cloud infrastructure type course that's supported with labs. So you can even teach cloud computing to students using virtualization, virtual machines the students would access to build their own little cloud environment. And it's all through their browser. They can even do it from their home. So it's pretty exciting where it's headed.
Sometimes this kind of tweaks my head. It's like looking at mirrors and mirrors, you know.
It's virtualization running on top of virtualization so people can train virtualization. It's almost like a Rubik's Cube after a while. But to the student, it's just an easy interface to log in, schedule lab time, get computing resources, and learn how to become a cloud computing expert, basically.
Right. And so you made that work teaching virtualization on virtualization.
That's right.
And now you can teach other technologies on virtualization as well.
That's
so that
correct.
same cost-effective, always accessible from anywhere paradigm is now evolving into EMC technologies and new VMware technologies, and it can grow and spread in all sorts of directions in the future.
Yeah, that's so true. And what I think is what's a great value add to the academic community is VMware is providing the software at no cost. So you join the VMware IT Academy and you have this gateway to get access to build and teach their content and curriculum at no cost. And I mean, if you look at what that would cost a school to invest capital-wise, and then on top of that, they're being told step-by-step instructions to how to stand up these type of environments. which there's a cost to intellectual knowledge. I mean, we all sit and invest in people, but what if an instructor can get free access and do these courses at no cost? Well, NDG's worked with VMware to make that available for the VMware virtualization courses, the EMC information storage management course, so instructors can log in from anywhere and do the labs at no cost.
Thank you, VMware.
So there's a lot of opportunity in programs. Just quick Google search, look at VMware IT Academy, and a lot of opportunity.
Really appreciate your investment in workforce development for the evolution of our society and economy. I think that really is a win-win-win story.
Yeah, and James, you and I have been in board meetings with like cybersecurity communities that are using this same technology that VMware is enabling to run cybersecurity competitions and cybersecurity playgrounds. And I mean, the sky's the limit on courses that can be taught.
Powerful,
Yeah.
very powerful. Well, thanks for the update. Thanks for being here, and keep it coming.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.